God says, before you scroll away, listen carefully. The prayer you never spoke out loud, the one hidden deep inside your heart. I heard every word of it. The tears you wiped away in silence, the nights you thought I wasn't listening. I was there. Today, I want you to hear what I've been preparing to tell you. There is a reason this message found you today, not yesterday, not tomorrow, today. For a long time, you've been carrying questions that you never asked anyone. You smiled when people looked at you, but deep inside your heart was asking, God, do you still see me? Do you still have a plan for my life? You wondered why doors kept closing. You wondered why the answers never came when you expected them. You even questioned whether your silent prayers had disappeared into the darkness. But they didn't. Every whispered hope, every silent cry, every tear that fell when no one was watching, reached me. I counted them all. You believed your pain was invisible because people walked past it without noticing. They judged your silence as weakness. They mistook your patience for defeat. But I was doing something they could never see. While you thought nothing was happening, I was protecting you from battles you didn't even know existed. Some opportunities disappeared because they were never meant to become your future. Some people walked away because they could not go where I am leading you. Some delays felt like rejection, but they were actually my protection. I know there were nights when you almost gave up. You looked toward heaven, waiting for a sign. Sometimes you heard nothing. Sometimes all you felt was silence. But my silence was never my absence. I was preparing a path that could only be built with perfect timing. If I had answered your prayer too early, it would have broken you instead of blessing you. If I had opened every door you wanted, some of those doors would have stolen your peace. Now listen carefully. The season you've been living in is coming to an end, not because you forced it, not because you became perfect, but because your heart refused to stop believing, even when your eyes couldn't see the answer. That faith, that quiet decision to trust me one more day, is something heaven never ignored. And today, I want you to understand one truth that will change everything. I have never stopped listening, not for a single moment. My child, I have never stopped listening, not for a single moment. Even when your faith became quiet, even when your prayers turned into nothing more than tears, even when all you could whisper was, God, are you still there? I heard you. You may not remember every prayer you've spoken, but I do. I remember the night you couldn't sleep because your mind was carrying burdens your heart could no longer hold. I remember the morning you smiled in front of everyone while silently asking me to give you just enough strength to survive one more day. I remember the disappointment you never shared with anyone. You called it coincidence. Others called it bad luck. But I was standing between you and dangers you never even knew existed. That job you didn't get, that relationship that suddenly ended, that opportunity that disappeared without explanation. You cried because you believed you had lost something precious. But what if I told you that I wasn't taking something away? I was keeping something worse away from you. There are battles you never had to fight because I fought them before they ever reached your door. There are betrayals I allowed you to discover early because the pain of knowing the truth was smaller than the pain of living a lie. You only saw the closed door. I saw the disaster waiting behind it. This is why I ask you today, will you trust what I can see, even when you cannot? Because faith does not grow when every answer is visible. Faith grows in the moments when you choose to keep walking, even though the road ahead is hidden. And I know that hasn't been easy for you. You've watched other people move ahead while you remained in the same place. You've wondered why blessings seemed to arrive for everyone except you. You even asked yourself, did God forget my name? Listen to me carefully. Heaven has never misplaced your name. Not once. Every promise I have spoken over your life is still alive. Every purpose I placed inside you is still waiting for the right moment. Time has not cancelled what I prepared for you. Delay has not destroyed your destiny. The enemy wanted you to believe that because nothing changed overnight, nothing would ever change. That was the lie. The truth is, some of my greatest miracles happen quietly before they become visible. A seed grows underground long before anyone sees the first leaf. The sunrise begins before your eyes notice the light, and the answer to your prayer often begins before you recognize the change. That is exactly where you are today. Something has already started moving. You cannot see it yet. You cannot measure it. You cannot explain it. But heaven has already begun arranging what your future requires. People you haven't met yet. Doors you haven't discovered yet. Conversations you haven't imagined yet. I am already preparing them. So don't confuse silence with abandonment. Don't mistake waiting for rejection, and don't believe that because you cannot see my hand, I am no longer working. Because right now, while you are listening to these words, I am doing something that your eyes cannot yet understand. And when the time is right, you will look back at this very moment and realize that this was not the day I finally heard your prayer. This was the day you finally understood that I had been answering it all along. This was the day you finally understood that I had been answering it all along. My beloved child, there is something I need you to understand before you take another step forward. The greatest mistake people make is believing that I only work through what they can see. They think that if the door has not opened, I am doing nothing. If the miracle has not appeared, I must be silent. If the answer has not arrived, I must have forgotten them. But my ways have never depended on what human eyes can measure. Long before a mountain moves, I begin shifting what lies beneath it. Long before a breakthrough becomes visible, I begin changing hearts, opening paths, removing obstacles, and preparing moments that no person could arrange on their own. You have been asking me to change your circumstances, but first, I have been changing you. Because if I gave you tomorrow's blessing with yesterday's heart, the blessing itself could become your greatest burden. There were lessons you needed to learn, not because I wanted to see you suffer, but because I wanted you to become strong enough to protect what I am about to place in your hands. Think back for a moment. The person you were 1 year ago is not the person listening to these words today. You have cried more, you have prayed more, you have trusted more, you have survived moments that once convinced you they would destroy you. Yet here you are, still breathing, still believing, still searching for my voice. That alone is proof that my hand has never left you. There were days when fear whispered louder than faith. There were mornings when anxiety greeted you before hope could. There were nights when you replayed every disappointment over and over again, wondering if life would ever feel different. I watched every one of those moments, not from a distance, but beside you. When you thought you were walking alone, it was my strength carrying you through places your own strength could never survive. Many times you asked me, why is everyone else's life moving while mine feels delayed? The answer is simpler than you realize. I am not writing everyone else's story. I am writing yours, and I refuse to rush a masterpiece just because someone else finished their chapter first. Comparison has stolen enough of your peace. Stop measuring your journey against people who were never called to walk your path. Some are running races you were never meant to enter. Some are celebrating victories that are not part of your purpose. If I gave you their life, you would lose the destiny I designed specifically for you. You only see one page of the story. I see every chapter. I know where every road leads. I know which smile hides betrayal. I know which opportunity hides regret. I know which delay is actually saving your future. That is why I ask you to trust me beyond what makes sense. Faith is not believing after you understand. Faith is believing before you understand, and I know. That has been difficult because you wanted answers. You wanted certainty. You wanted a clear sign that everything would be okay. Instead, I gave you something greater. I gave you my presence. Because answers can satisfy the mind for a moment, but my presence gives peace to the soul. Listen carefully now. There are people who underestimated you because they only judged what they could see. They saw your waiting, but they never saw your preparation. They saw your silence, but they never saw the conversations between your heart and mine. They saw your struggles, but they never saw the strength I was building inside you every single day. Do not be discouraged by those who misunderstand your season. A tree looks lifeless in winter, yet deep beneath the ground, its roots are growing stronger than ever. What appears empty is often the beginning of abundance. What appears delayed is often perfectly timed. This season has not been punishment, it has been preparation. Preparation for responsibilities greater than you imagined. Preparation for blessings that require wisdom instead of excitement. Preparation for doors that will not simply change your circumstances, but change the direction of your entire life. Soon, people will wonder how everything changed. They will think it happened overnight. They will call it luck. They will call it perfect timing. But you will know the truth. You will remember every silent prayer, every lonely night, every tear that nobody noticed, every moment you chose to trust me when there was no evidence that anything was changing. Because those hidden moments, those quiet moments of faith, were never wasted. They were becoming the foundation of everything I am about to build. So do not grow weary now. Do not stop believing now. Do not let disappointment convince you to abandon the very path that is leading you toward my promise. You are closer than you realize, closer than yesterday, closer than last month, closer than the day you first whispered that silent prayer. Heaven has not forgotten. Your name is still written before me. Your prayer is still alive before me, and my promise over your life has not changed. The next part of your journey will not begin because of coincidence. It will begin because my perfect timing is meeting your faithful endurance. And when that moment arrives, you will finally understand why I asked you to keep trusting me, even when you could not yet see my hand. My beloved child, you have walked through a season that tested everything inside you. Your patience, your faith, your ability to keep moving forward when nothing around you gave you a reason to believe. But I want you to hear this clearly today. The season that shaped you was not the season that would break you. It was the season that was preparing you. For too long, you have been looking at what you lost. You have counted the doors that closed. You have remembered the opportunities that passed. You have replayed the moments when life did not go the way you expected. But my child, you have been measuring your journey by what disappeared. I want you to start seeing it through what was being built. Because while you were asking, why is nothing happening? I was working on things you could not see. While you were wondering, how much longer must I wait? I was strengthening the foundation beneath your future. You thought you were standing still, but heaven was moving. You thought you were forgotten, but you were being positioned. There is a difference between being delayed and being prepared. A seed buried in the ground may look forgotten. It may look like nothing is happening, but beneath the surface, something powerful is taking place. The seed is breaking. The roots are forming. The life inside it is awakening. And then, at the right moment, what was hidden begins to rise. My child, that is what has been happening inside you. You have been growing in places nobody could see. Your character was growing when nobody was applauding you. Your faith was growing when nobody was encouraging you. Your strength was growing when nobody knew how much you were fighting just to keep going. Do you understand now? The struggle was not proof that I left you. The struggle was proof that something valuable was being developed inside you. Diamonds are not formed in comfort. Gold is not purified without fire. And a person carrying a greater purpose cannot avoid seasons that create greater strength. I know there were moments when you almost gave up. Moments when you said, I cannot do this anymore. Moments when you smiled around people but broke down when you were alone. Moments when you wondered if your prayers were reaching heaven. But listen carefully. Every tear was seen. Every silent battle was noticed. Every time you chose not to quit, heaven recorded it. You thought nobody noticed your endurance, but I did. You thought nobody understood your pain, But I did. You thought nobody saw how hard you were trying? But I saw everything. And now, I want you to stop carrying the weight of a season that has already completed its purpose. Some things ended because they were never meant to follow you into your next chapter. Some people left because they could not walk with the person you were becoming. Some connections had to break because they were connected to an older version of you. You keep asking, why did they leave? But sometimes the better question is, why was I still trying to hold on to something I was being freed from? My child, you cannot enter a new season while constantly reaching back toward the old one. You cannot receive what is coming while your hands are still holding what had to be released. There is a reason I allowed certain things to leave. There is a reason certain paths disappeared. There is a reason some prayers were answered differently than you expected. Because I was protecting the future version of you. The person you are becoming needs different surroundings, different thinking, different courage, different faith. And that is why you have felt uncomfortable lately. Because growth always creates discomfort. A butterfly struggles inside the cocoon before it can fly. The struggle is not destroying it. The struggle is preparing it. My child, you are not going backwards. You are not stuck. You are not forgotten. You are entering a transition, and transitions often feel confusing because the old has ended. But the new has not fully appeared yet. This is where many people lose hope. They believe nothing is happening because they cannot see the result. But remember, the greatest changes often happen quietly before they become visible. Before a building rises, the foundation is placed underground. Before a tree produces fruit, the roots grow in darkness. Before your blessing appears, your preparation must be completed. And I am telling you today, your preparation has not been wasted. The wisdom you gained, the patience you developed, the strength you discovered, the lessons you learned, they are all coming with you into the next chapter. You will not enter your future as the same person who entered your struggle. You are entering stronger. You are entering wiser. You are entering with a deeper understanding of who you are and whose hands hold your future. Soon you will begin noticing small signs, a conversation that changes something, an unexpected opportunity, a connection that arrives at exactly the right moment, a door that opens without you forcing it. And when these moments begin to happen, do not call them random. Do not call them luck. Remember the nights when you prayed. Remember the days when you waited. Remember the moments when you trusted me without proof. Because what is coming was being prepared long before you saw it. My child, the waiting was not empty. The silence was not meaningless. The hidden season was not wasted. You were becoming ready for what you once prayed for. So lift your eyes. Release the fear. Stop expecting disappointment. Stop preparing yourself for another loss. A new chapter requires a new expectation. You cannot walk into tomorrow while believing only yesterday will repeat itself. I'm not bringing you this far to abandon you now. The same hand that carried you through the storm will guide you into the promise. The same voice that comforted you in your darkest moments will lead you into your brightest days. And one day, soon, you will look back at the version of yourself who was crying, waiting, and wondering. And you will say, I understand now. I understand why the door closed. I understand why the timing was different. I understand why I had to walk through that valley. Because what you thought was the end was actually preparation for a beginning. My beloved child, your story's not ending here. The chapter you have been waiting for is finally beginning. But before you step into it, there is one more thing you must understand. The blessing coming toward you will require something from you. It will require you to believe differently, to walk differently, to see yourself differently, because sometimes the biggest battle is not receiving the blessing. It is believing that you are ready to receive it. And that is what I want to speak to your heart about next. Because your next chapter is not just about what I am bringing to you. It is about who you are becoming, to be continued. My beloved child, you have reached a moment in your journey where you must understand something important. The blessing you have been praying for was never only about changing your situation, it was always about transforming you, because I do not simply want to place something new in your hands. I want to prepare your heart to carry it. Many people pray for a door to open, but they never ask if they are ready for what is waiting behind that door. They ask for success, but they do not ask for the wisdom to handle success. They ask for abundance, but they do not ask for the character to protect it. They ask for a new beginning, but they do not realize that every new beginning requires a new version of themselves. My child, that is why I have been working on you in ways you could not understand. You thought I was only changing your circumstances, but I was changing your perspective. You thought I was only removing obstacles, but I was removing the fears that kept you from moving forward. You thought I was only preparing a blessing, but I was preparing the person who would receive it. Look back at who you were before this season began. You reacted differently. You trusted differently. You saw yourself differently. You allowed fear to control decisions that should have been guided by faith. But now, something inside you has changed. The same things that once destroyed your peace no longer have the same power over you. The same voices that once made you doubt yourself no longer define you. The same storms that once made you afraid have now shown you how strong you truly are. Do you see what happened? The storm did not come to end you. It came to reveal you. It revealed the strength you did not know you had. It revealed the courage that was hidden beneath your fear. It revealed the faith that was growing even when you felt empty. My child, you have been asking, when will my life finally change? But I want you to realize your life has already started changing. The biggest miracles do not always begin outside of you. Sometimes the greatest miracle begins within you. A changed heart, a renewed mind, a stronger spirit, a deeper trust. Those are the foundations of everything I am building next, because if I gave you everything you wanted before you were ready, you might have lost yourself trying to hold on to it. There are blessings that require maturity. There are opportunities that require patience. There are responsibilities that require wisdom, and that is why your journey took longer than you expected. You were not being denied. You were being developed. You were not being rejected. You were being refined. You were not being forgotten. You were being prepared. My beloved child, I know you looked around and saw others receiving what you were waiting for. You watched people celebrate moments you were still praying for. You watched doors open for others while yours remained closed. And secretly you wondered, why not me? But you did not see what I saw. You did not see the things they were not prepared for. You did not see the battles they would face. You did not see the paths that would have taken you away from your purpose. Remember, a child may ask for something because they desire it, but a loving parent considers whether it is the right time. Not every "not yet" means never. Sometimes not yet is protection. Sometimes not yet is preparation. Sometimes not yet is because something greater is being arranged. And my timing has always been greater than your understanding. My child, do not allow another person's timeline to make you question my plan. Your journey was never supposed to look like theirs. You were not created to copy someone else's story. You were created to walk a path that only you can walk. There is something inside you that nobody else carries. There is a purpose connected to your life that cannot be replaced. That is why your journey required different lessons, different challenges, different seasons. The road was different because your destination is different. Listen carefully. The enemy wanted you to believe that your waiting season meant you were losing. But what if your waiting season was actually your training season? What if every rejection was redirecting you? What if every ending was making space for something new? What if every moment you thought you were falling behind was actually moving you closer to where you needed to be? You have been looking at the empty space, but I have been looking at the possibilities. You have been looking at what is missing, but I have been looking at what is coming. My child, There is a version of you that exists beyond this struggle. A version of you that wakes up with peace instead of fear. A version of you that walks with confidence instead of insecurity. A version of you that no longer needs approval from people because you finally understand your worth. And that person is being created right now. Every challenge has been shaping them. Every lesson has been strengthening them. Every prayer has been connecting them closer to me. You are closer than you think, but before you step into the next chapter, you must release one final burden, the burden of who you used to be. You cannot become the person you were created to be while constantly punishing yourself for the person you once were. I know your mistakes. I know your regrets. I know the choices you wish you could change. But I also know your heart. I know the growth that came from those moments. I know the wisdom you gained. I know the compassion that was created through your pain. Your past may explain where you came from, but it does not decide where you are going. Do not let yesterday's failures become tomorrow's prison. You are not trapped by your history. You are guided by your purpose, my child. The chapter ahead of you requires courage. It requires you to step forward even when you do not have every answer. It requires you to trust that the same God who carried you through the darkest valley will also walk with you on the highest mountain. You have spent so much time asking for a sign, but perhaps this is the sign you needed. You are still here, you are still standing, you are still believing. After everything that happened, your heart is still searching for hope. That means your story is not over. It means something greater is still ahead. And now, the time has come for you to stop seeing yourself as someone waiting for a miracle and start seeing yourself as someone prepared to walk into one, because the doors I am opening next will require a person who believes they belong there. A person who is not afraid of their own potential. A person who understands that they were not brought this far to remain the same. My beloved child, the next chapter will challenge you in a different way, not with pain, but with possibility, not with loss, but with responsibility, not with closed doors, but with opportunities you once thought were impossible. And when those doors begin to open, you will need to remember everything this season taught you, because the blessing is coming. But the question is, will you have the faith to step forward when it arrives?